All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 341 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and over here we talk about Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern football. I got some stuff coming in the works for Georgia Southern football. I've done a lot of coverage over them on the last few weeks, but the Atlanta Falcons, once again, they are, making news, doing a lot of big things, changing his team over throughout this offseason, and it's a great thing, and it's a beautiful thing to talk about, to be honest with you. A lot of positivity, in my opinion, coming from the Falcons after years of negativity. So this is a good time right now, and I'm really here for this, and I want to give you my thoughts and opinions, my commentary, and all the things under that umbrella when it comes to the Falcons. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I am VF Baller. I talk about Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern football once again. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. If you're listening to me over here on YouTube and Rumble, I'm also on the podcast avenues. I'm on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify. I am on Apple and Google, pretty much on your favorite podcast platforms if you want to listen instead of watch the visuals. So just for your convenience, if you want to download the show at any time, it's available for you. Let's just go ahead and get into this, because this is something that not many people have been talking about, and we basically just been talking about the players, but collectively, I want to talk about the defense collectively, because we've been looking at more of the offense when it comes to the Falcons, because the loss of Matt Ryan, he's going to the Colts. He was basically the cornerstone of the offense because he's been the most consistent and been there the longest. He's no longer there. So we have two new quarterbacks, and we're all worried about how we're going to move the ball down the field, and, how things are going to change and who's going to run the ball. What about the offensive line? But we haven't talked much about the defense. And when I noticed over the wires that Grady Jarrett was extended for another 3 years, $51 million, $17 million, I think he got like 30, I think he got like $36 or $34 million guaranteed. So he's going to be around for a while. It's safe to say that he probably will end up being a Falcon for life, literally. Not talking about the Julio Jones stuff, because, who wants to talk about that at this point? But it looks like he's probably going to spend his entire career with the Falcons, because after the 3 years, I don't see him going anywhere. That's just my opinion. But then again, we saw what happened with Freddie Freeman. That's another subject for another day. When I looked at that contract, and I noticed that he signed for an extension, so I was like, if I signed that extension, I'm like, okay, we have an anchor on the defensive line. We have somebody that is, that it solidifies that line for years to come. Basically a hometown kid, a guy who is, that has been very productive, a guy that knows how to lead a defense or lead a defensive line from his position. It's very hard to find somebody who can lead a defense or pretty much lead a defensive line at the defensive tackle position. When you think about guys who are the alpha on a defensive line, you always think about somebody that's on the outside, the perennial pass rusher, especially on a defensive line. Defense in general, you must mostly talking about a linebacker, whatever the case may be. But looking at our linebacker situation, Grady Jarrett is clearly the tenured person, the person who's been there the longest, the guy who knows what it is to be a Falcon. He knows what it is to be that guy on defense. And like I said before, if it wasn't for the collapse in the Super Bowl, Grady Jarrett would have more likely been the MVP. I think he had a couple of sacks, batted down a couple of balls, couple tackles for loss. He was really good in that Super Bowl. So he knows what it's like to be the leader. So we're going to talk about the other 8 guys, a total of 9 people, that I think that this defense is looking much better than we think it is. Much better than we even care to even think about, because I know there's other places that they may have talked about the defense, but for the most part, when I look at, or when I hear rumblings about the defense, it's mostly about individual players. Yeah, like Ebi Kete, or how Marlon Davidson could finally step up, or what Tom Anderson's going to do. Terrell, AJ Terrell has always been like that guy on the island that's been doing a really good thing. The signing of Casey Hayward, is Richie Grant is going to step up because, I've been fairly critical of Richie Grant myself. The signing of Lorenzo Carter, what D'Angelo Malone's going to do. Tom Anderson could possibly do everything. Troy Anderson could possibly do everything. But when these 9 guys, I know it's 11 people on the field, but when these 9 guys get on the field together, what do we have? I'm going to be quite honest. I think we got a pretty good defense. I think we have a pretty good defense. We got two defensive backs that could play corner pretty well. And there's a couple of guys I haven't mentioned, but I'm going to talk about them in a little bit. We got a safety that I was pretty critical of him, especially when I found out we signed Brad Hawkins to an undrafted free agent deal. But I think he still can play. If he steps up to the next level like most guys do in year 2, or probably, I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be a really good player for our team. When you look at Marlon Davidson and what he has been shown to do, he can step up and be pretty good as well, especially with the other guys around him on the defensive line. There's also rumblings that he slimmed down a little bit, like he lost some weight. So it's kind of interesting to see what he's actually going to be able to do with the weight loss. Do I need to say anything more about AJ Terrell? I really don't. I don't. We already know what he's capable of. Casey Hayward, same way. Casey Hayward has been very productive throughout his career. And with him being on the other side of Terrell, we're looking like we're going to be pretty good as far as passing, defense, pass defense. Lorenzo Carter comes in from the Giants. He's looking to make a name for himself once again on a 1-year deal to get some pass rush. So with him and Ebi Kete on opposite sides, Ogundeji, which is a person I don't have up here, Ogundeji is going to be here as well. Don't expect for any of these guys to get a maximum amount of playing time. Dean Pease's defense is all about rotation. It's one of the reasons why you see a lot of guys who possibly could get at the quarterback at any given moment. When you turn around and look at D'Angelo Malone and Troy Anderson, these are 2 linebackers that are very versatile. They can do a little bit of everything. Troy Anderson can catch, run, throw, kick, pass. He can, he can do a little no telling what he's capable of when he gets on the field. You look at D'Angelo Malone, there's another athlete that can get at the quarterback, and he can run pretty fast as well. So out of these 9 guys that I'm talking about here, this defense looks pretty good. This defense isn't bad. This defense is a lot better than it was last year, just on paper. Now, what's going to happen when we start playing? Who knows? And I will say this: you as fans have every right to be skeptical. You have every right to be in the wait and see approach. I agree. I'm with you on that. And every time I talk, I know I talk like I'm hype or whatever. I am. I'm very happy. But at the same time, obviously, I'm in wait and see approach. I'm not sitting here and saying like this team is going to win 10 games now because of what they have on the field. I just think that they're pretty good defense. I think they're pretty good right now. I think the offense is pretty good as well. So it's a good reason to be positive right now. It's really good to be positive right now. Because you look at this list of guys, you look at the guys that are on the screen. If you're watching on the screen, there's no reason to be negative. There's a reason to be skeptical. There's a reason to be cause for pause. But we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how all these guys are going to fare out. I mean, we know what Grady and AJ Terrell is going to do. We know what the veterans are going to do. But the guys who are coming in as rookies, and even some of the people coming in on contract, we don't know what they're going to do. Lorenzo Carter looks like a guy that could, that's going to get like 4 or 5 sacks, maybe 6 or 7. He looks like a guy but we don't know. He's coming from a different team. We don't know what Malone and Anderson's going to do. Come from a different team. Coming from from college. So yeah, I get it. But when you look at what this team is made of right now with Dean Pease's type of scheme, I see that there's no reason to not think like the glass is half full easily. That's how full easily. I think Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith have done a phenomenal job at getting these players, bringing them in, finding a way to extend Grady Jarrett, which that opens up. I think it opens up like $10 million in cap space. And you got to understand, speaking of cap, this is a year that we are, with what, 60? I can't even remember. We have a whole lot of dead cap money. We got a lot of dead cap. And that's going to change next year. Now, who knows what's going to happen next year when we're over $100 million in cap space? That's scary to think about. And that's definitely going to be another a topic for another day, because the sky is the limit when you can, have that much money to play with this type of talent already. That's insane. I've already heard rumblings about bringing another top defensive guy in. Some people are talking about bringing Odell Beckham in, which honestly, this is a defensive episode, but honestly, I'm not against that. I doubt it if it happened, but I'm not against that. And I will say this real quick, and I know this may, rub people kind of weird. I will say this. I was thinking about this before. I don't know what the communication line is like. I would go talk to Julio Jones and see about bringing him in on a 1-year deal. But I'm dead serious about that. I would not. I'm not opposed to that at this point, knowing what we have now. But it got to be the veterans minimum. It got to be I mean, look, nobody's looking at him. And I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, I really don't. But nobody's looking at him right now. There's been rumblings that he could go to the Colts. There's been rumblings that he could go to the Bucks. Why not bring him in on a 1-year deal and put him like number 3, number 4 on the depth chart? I don't know. Thinking about it now, he probably will sit for real then. he probably will sit on the sideline for real then, if that's the case. I don't know. I don't know. What you guys think? Let me know about that. Maybe I'll talk about that another day. I may make a quick video about that. But nevertheless, we're supposed to have $10 million in cap space now. So we could get more players to come in to do something. At least 3 more players possibly could come in. And looking at the free agent market, we may make another quick splash before the season starts. I mean, I understand with the wide receiver position. I get it. We may not need another wide receiver, but you never can have enough. You never have enough guys on defense. And I don't know who's out there on defense who's like ready to play right now, but you just never know. But I think at the end of the day, we possibly could bring a guy in that could contribute, and that will be pretty cool to see, bringing a guy in with that extra cap space. But really, I'm really excited about what I see here. I think Ibikete is going to be really good, alongside of Grady Jarrett and Lorenzo Carter, Ogundeji. You still got Marlon Davidson. I think this front 7 is going to be really good. And there's a couple other guys I didn't mention. You got Taquan Graham, still here. You got a couple of other guys who are really capable of playing defense. I think, Michael Walker, he's still here at linebacker. I didn't mention Deion Jones, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know where he fits. I don't know where he fits at this moment. I think Deion Jones possibly could, get traded. Even if he's still on the team, that's still a plus, because we technically don't have a middle linebacker that's going to start right now. I believe that Troy Anderson could be that guy. Malone is an outside linebacker, in my opinion. Like I said, we still got Michael Walker. He could do a little bit of everything as well. So I don't know where that's going to go as far as a middle linebacker, because I just don't know. There's already been, like I said, there's been rumblings about Deion Jones prior to the draft even starting. So, will he get traded? How much money will we save off that trade? Will it be more dead cap money? I don't know. Could be. If a team is willing to take his contract, kind of similar like the Julio Jones situation, it will free up money, but we still will have, I think that cap money, that dead cap will go into next year, I think. I'm not sure, but I just don't know. It just seems like at the point he's the odd man out. But also I want to talk about our other safety position is Eric Harris coming back to play. Eric Harris did have a pretty solid season. A couple of plays that he had that made it on ESPN, laying out that kid from from the Panthers. That looked pretty cool. It was a legal hit. But for him to play that position, I think it's still a be okay. That he'd probably be one. I ain't gonna say the weakest link, but that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to work on. Will he step up and play a little bit better? I think he can. Also, the nickelback with Isaiah Oliver, I think that's really that was a very good re-signing right there, because he was. I think Isaiah Oliver finally found his position when he went to nickelback. He did very well until he tore his ACL. And with him coming back, I want to put him right back in that position. Have Casey Hayward and AJ Terrell play the outside. Put Isaiah Oliver back in that nickel slot and let him work. I think those three guys across the board is going to be very, very productive for us. And that's what we need in the passing game. The pass defense anyway. And with Richie Grant, Brad Hawkins, I still believe in Brad. I think Brad Hawkins could be a star. And with him probably looming off the practice squad, or even looming off the undrafted free agent to make the team, I think that bodes very well for that. The free safety position is still kind of up in the air. Like I said, the situation with not Richie Grant, but Eric Harris, that's still kind of up in the air. I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to play out. I think either way, I think he's going to be all right, but that's something to look at. Coming back towards the line of scrimmage, the linebackers, I expect Malone, I expect Anderson to probably play right away. Not to mean that they're going to start, but I expect them to get a lot of playing time in the rotation with the other linebackers that we have. But I expect Ebiketie to start day one. I expect him to start day one. I expect Lorenzo Carter to be out there day one starting. But like I said, everybody on the defense, especially the front seven, is going to be rotated in and out. But I expect these guys going to be the start of the rotation. Because when you look at the linebackers, after we lost Lafoya Luakon, I just don't see where any of these two guys don't play right away. Also was talking about last episode, the linebacker from Colorado. Be on the lookout for him as well. Undrafted free agent. He possibly could make a splash as well. As far as being in that rotation or possibly being on special teams. Matt Hankins, that's another guy that's on the undrafted free agent list that was signed. Watch him to possibly get some rotation time. More likely on the outside. They're going to try him on the outside every now and then. I can see that. I don't know. He might do better. He might do pretty good in the nickel as well. It's just so many players right now that we have that are willing and able to fit. I ain't gonna say willing and able because I don't know if they're willing to, but they're going to be able to fit in this defense very well, very well. I see a Taquan Graham, Pennell. I think Pennell is still on the team. You still have these other guys that were signed earlier this year at defensive tackle. Ogun Deje, Taquan Graham, those guys are going to be rotated in and out, but you still have the anchors and with Grady Jarrett. AEK is probably going to be that guy on the outside as well. Lorenzo Carter is probably going to be on a prove it. He's on a prove it deal, so he's going to prove that he can play, and he can get at the quarterback when need be. So I think overall we're looking really good on defense. I think we're much better than we thought we were, and I feel that this team is going to surprise a lot of people. They're going to surprise a lot of people. You got to understand, we won 7 games with the team that we had last year. 7 games. And if we can get Desmond Ridder or Marcus Mariota to play smart football or play, they don't have to be the guy to actually, throw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards. But with that receiving corp, all they have to do is get the ball to them. Don't throw the ball to the other team. Don't fumble the ball. Don't make very bad decisions. Just get the ball to the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs out the backfield. I think we're going to be pretty good. I wasn't really into this whole situation where Terry Fontenot and them said that we want to have our cake and eat it too. We want to rebuild and win at the same time. I wasn't really feeling that because it kind of didn't make sense. But now when you look at it now, I'm like, all right, wait a minute. We got something here. And looking at this, looking at the NFC South, I mean, man, you look at the Panthers, you look at the Saints defense, they're looking pretty good. When you look at the Bucks, the Bucks got Tom Brady, and those guys have our number. But when you look at the NFC South is not. The NFC South is much more winnable than I think. And as the weeks go by and the season get closer, we may see more of that being a reality. Because the Bucks are the Bucks. Don't get me wrong, But when we got a team like this, I mean, you may want to think about some things just a little bit quicker about, what we can do in this division. Because defense win championships. I don't care what anybody say. It's an offensive-driven league, but defense win championships. And if this defense is willing and able to step their game up and bring this talent in, and this talent plays like this, or I ain't going to say plays like this, but if they play up to their strengths, they play within the scheme, we may have something here. That's a lot better than we actually thought. If you like this commentary, if you like this podcast, hit the like button, share this podcast. Let people know what we're doing over here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. On your phones where it says the little share button, let me tell you what you should do. Take that share button, hit that, and send it to somebody that that's a Falcon fan. Hell, send it to somebody that that's a Saints fan. Send that to somebody that that's anybody in this division. Send it to anybody that that's a fan of any team in the NFC. Let them know what we're talking about over here. Let them know. Just hit that share button on the YouTube right under where it says like and stuff and just share it. Send it to somebody. Text it to them. Let people know what we're doing over here. Also, if you don't mind, give me a 5-star rating on that star chart. If you're listening on Apple, if you're listening to us on any of the other podcast avenues that does give feedback, give me some feedback. Let me know what I'm doing right, wrong, or indifferent. Let people know what's going on over here. I hear my son downstairs. He's up already. That's awesome. Okay. So, all right, y'all. I am going to get up out of here. I will be making another video later on about the Georgia Southern Eagles. Hopefully you guys tune into that. Thank you guys for all the support. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for all the support, the uptick in subscribers, and all the feedback I've been getting. Thank you guys. Excuse me. Thank you guys. All right, y'all. I'm going to get up out of here. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.